So Bishop Maponga is someone who obviously is an opponent of Christianity, and Bishop Maponga always has a lot of arguments against Christianity.
They say, come to Jesus, come to Jesus. And people go to Jesus and go there also want to find out after church, where is he hiding behind the pulpit here? And I never found him. You grow up and then you are taught to read. No, he's in the Bible. He's in the Bible. So this God is actually hiding in a book.
I think a lot of people who accept his arguments as true never actually truly examine whether or not these actually make sense. Like a lot of people just, because he speaks well, you know, he knows a little bit about Christian theology, he studied African spirituality, and so people just basically just go with what he's saying. And I think a lot of people, they're just going with the flow, really. They can see, well, he's got people following him, he's got a massive following. And so people just don't actually stop and think, is this a valid argument? I'm going to play this video that I got on TikTok. I think it was from Newsroom Africa, where Uxoli Mgambi was hosting the two of them, and they were going neck and neck, debating about Christianity and African spirituality. But what I like about Dr. Shimmy Kotu, he gets to the heart of the matter, why some of these arguments are not valid. And so I want you guys to watch this very short video. And then at the end, I'm actually going to show you a cool way that you can always deal with someone in your conversations, someone who presents this very same argument that Christianity is not indigenous to Africa. I'll show you a very cool way and actually show you what the logical fallacy that is presented by this refutation of Christianity. So let's watch this video and then wait for my thoughts towards the end.
You said two things. You said what? Christianity is non-indigenous and politics. Now, if that was a valid argument, we shouldn't be sitting here because this is un-African. You can never diminish the benefit of anything because it never originated within the context of what you accept as African. Then why are we doing here? The cameras are not indigenous to Africa. It's not a valid argument. We should look at the benefit it offers within the confines of the law.
Absolutely agree with Dr. Shimmy Kotu. And the logical fallacy that's presented by Bishop Maponga when he says Christianity is not indigenous, what he's basically presenting is what we call the genetic fallacy. And the genetic fallacy says something is true or false on the basis of its origin. In other words, if someone, let's say maybe you have two scientists, one scientist is from Harvard and another scientist maybe is from a university maybe in Kenya. You know, someone is going to say, no, Harvard, that whatever that scientist is saying, it must be true because it comes from Harvard. But instead of actually examining what are these two scientists actually saying and compare them and actually see who is actually telling the truth. So we can't live life saying things are true or false on the basis of where they come from or who said them, right? So this is what we call the genetic fallacy, to say, man, Christianity should be rejected because it's not indigenous. And Dr. Shimmy Kotu basically drives away at this and say, okay, if we're going to reject Christianity on the basis that it's not from Africa, then we might as well reject the vehicles that we use, right, to get to the studio. Like, how did Bishop Maponga go from Zimbabwe to Newsroom Africa? He had to fly there. He had to drive there. Now, did he use indigenous modes of transport? Absolutely not. He embraced those modes of transport because they are of benefit, as Dr. Shimmy Kotu said, because this is the fastest way to get there, right? It doesn't matter where what originates from, but it's the fact that this is the best way to do it. This is the most beneficial way to do it. And this is why we're saying people should embrace Christianity, because Christianity primarily gives us spiritual benefit, but Christianity also gives us benefit in understanding the world, right? And understanding morality and so on. So this is why we say that Christianity cannot be said to be false just simply on the basis that it didn't come from Africa. You know, I always make the joke of someone saying Christianity was invented in Rome, but you're going to find the same guy sitting at Debonairs or Roman's Pizza, eating pizza. Oh, it's wrong to embrace Christianity because it comes from Rome, but it's right for you to eat pizza. But pizza also comes from Rome, so why aren't you rejecting it? So we can't actually consistently live out this thing. This is why it's a fallacy. We don't live our lives, you know, basing truth on the basis of where it comes from. I think that human beings have always historically shared ideas. So for an example, TikTok is from China, right? All of us must come out of TikTok if we're saying that things, we should only embrace African things. A lot of things that come from outside of Africa, like I've mentioned, the vehicles, some of our hospitals. When the missionaries came here, we always talk about the missionaries, that we had our own indigenous spirituality. But we also didn't have hospitals. We went to Izangoma, right? So the Sangoma is your indigenous healer, or Inyanga is your indigenous healer. And then you have doctors that offer us medicine, that some of the medicine is actually Western. But, would you just send someone to Isangoma when they're sick because it's indigenous? Absolutely not. And this is why we need to examine truth and say, if I'm rejecting Christianity, the only valid reason for you to reject Christianity is the basis of whether it's true or not. It can never be where it comes from, right? Then you can say, I'll never read a book. If you reject the Bible because maybe it was written outside of Africa, then you must reject every book that comes from there. So if you want to learn more about these sort of arguments, there's a very good book written by Uzanele Giane. He's a very good friend of mine. He's somebody who's been on this channel. And you can also watch the video that we did together with him answering some objections to Christianity from atheists. But this is one of the best Christian apologetics books in South Africa that can actually help you in your conversations with people. So I want to encourage you, if you can, to get Jesus, Our Philosopher, a very helpful book. It'll tell you all the logical fallacies and how you can actually defend your faith using some philosophical ways like knowing these logical fallacies. This is Bisrat for Africa, a channel dedicated to giving you Christian commentary on religious and spiritual matters. If you guys enjoyed the video, won't you feel free to like, to share, and to subscribe and help our community to grow. And this helps us a lot because we can reach a lot more people. We can actually dispel a lot more of these fallacies if you guys continue to share, to like. This is one of the ways that you can actually support our channel so that our message will get to other people who haven't heard it. We'll see you guys on the next video.